Behold, you will conceive a son, and you shall name him Jesus. God the Father will give him the throne of David his father. He will reign forever, and his kingdom will be without end. Today, as I said to you in the beginning of this Mass, the focus is on the person of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And the Church leaves this Sunday because from all people, from all the prophets, she was the most important one that was expecting this birth of her son. And so the first reading today, we hear the story of David. As you know, David was a shepherd, was chosen by God to be the second king of the Jews. And he proved himself so wonderful. That's why he was commander-in-chief. That after he captured Jerusalem and made it the capital, he built a beautiful palace to himself of cedar. And then he thought to himself, it's not fair. I live in this beautiful palace, and here the ark is in the tent. I need to build a temple. And he conveyed this thought to the prophet Nathan. And Nathan said, "Seer, you are the chief in command. God has chosen you. Now you do whatever you want. Because after all, you are the anointed of the Lord." But that very night, God said to Nathan, "Go and tell David, I am going to build you a house. You do not. Because your hands are so full of blood. You have disobeyed me. You have sinned. But your son, he is the one who will build me a house. And from the joints of your own family, I will bring a Redeemer, and he will reign forever, because he will take from you your destiny." And we know in the Gospel today how that promise about 1,000 years before Christ arrived was fulfilled in the words of the angel. "You will have a son. You will name him Jesus. He will take the throne of David his father, and his kingdom will have without no end." My dear people, in the Gospel we just read today, we see the importance of that great woman that God for thousands and thousands of years, even after the sin of our forefathers, had promised in the Garden of Eden, that she is the one, that she is going to step over the head of Satan, and the fruit of her womb is going to wage war against the power of evil, and he will be victorious. And that woman fulfilled that promise of God, that when in the fullness of time, as St. Paul said to us in the Galatians, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law, because like us she was human, but preserved her, as we celebrate in that great feast of the Immaculate Conception. That's why the Church made that feast, not for us to take it for granted and do whatever we want, but the Church really celebrates that feast to testify that the Son of God, to be born of this woman, is born of a woman, that for one moment she was not captured under sin, preserved from her very existence in the womb of her mother Saint Anne, to be the vehicle by which God will come into the world. And that's why today we hear the Annunciation, and we know that Luke gave us a little description, because otherwise we don't know what he is talking about. God sent his angel to Nazareth, to a woman betrothed to a man named Joseph of the house of David, and her name was Mary. Let us take a few moments on the salutation. Ave gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Those are the words that the angel pronounced to this woman. Hail, full of grace. Hail, you who are exempt from every stain of sin. Hail, because you are the one that God is always with you. And because God is always with you, there is no inclination to sin. Sin knows nothing of you. And because of that, you find favor. You are going to have a son. You are going to name him Jesus. He is going to be the one who inherited the throne of David, his father, and he will reign forever. But you know that Blessed Mother, although she was chosen by God with great privileges, she knows that a son to be born needs a man. And she said, I consecrate myself, I gave my virginity to God. How this can be done? And the angel said to her, the Holy Spirit will come upon you. The power of the Most High will overshadow you. And so the son to be born of you will be holy. In fact, he will be called the Son of the Most High. And Mary herself, realizing that now she was favored by God, we know that she needs more information. And the angel said to her, your relative Elizabeth, who although she was barren from her very age of bearing children, it is her 6 months for her to be called barren. Because nothing is impossible with God. And look at the response of the Virgin. Fiat secundum verbum tuum. Let it be done to me according to your word. At that very moment, that God become flesh and dwell for 9 months in the virgin womb of the Blessed Mother. And that's why we always say, and blessed is the womb. Because blessed was that womb who carried within it that God, that the world cannot contain. Blessed is that womb that God has chosen for 9 months to be hidden from the noise of the world, so that as he formed himself as a human within you, will be born as the Redeemer of the world. My dear people, these are very important words. And that's why today, as we focus on her, we who cannot be like her because we have been born under the power of sin, all of us knows that because of our nature that we inherit also the sinfulness of our forefathers. And that's why none of us can say that we are immaculate. But she can say that. She can say that not only because God made her, but she revealed it to us in 1858 at Lourdes. Soy Immaculée Conception. I am the Immaculate Conception. Yes, today we come together to reflect very seriously. Because many a time we wish Happy Christmas and Merry Christmas and Blessed Christmas, and we think that we are going to experience God, which we are not going to experience Him unless we cleanse ourselves from sin. Remember, we are dealing with good and evil. We are dealing with God and human. We are dealing with Word and the value of God. And they don't match. And as God said to Moses, you have to love me with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your whole being. And he said to him, I am a God of jealousy. I will not compromise from nothing. If we still are going to hold ourselves to those grudges, if we are still holding to that relationship, if we are still holding to those things that separate us from the love of Christ, you can come to church 100 times a day. You can receive communion 1,000,000 times a day. You will not receive God, and God will not come to you. This Wednesday, we have people here, extra priests for confession. But I have been telling you, I have been putting in the bulletin, plum, plum. My dear people, this is my last Christmas with you. Many people complain, how come I don't experience God?